Hello everybody and welcome to Bright Weird. Interesting subject this one, because today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about somebody that you've never heard of. This chap died several years before I was born, and he does not deserve to just disappear into history. People need to know who he was and what he did. He was an engineer, an author, an editor, and most crucially of all, he was a spiritualist. And when I tell you what this guy did, it'll blow your mind. This is Ernest Thompson, or as his friends knew him, Mark Dyne. Well, I'm not quite sure where to start with this guy. Finding information out about him is it's quite difficult actually, because he's quite obscure in history. However, his impact back in the 1940s to up to 1968 when he died was pretty substantial actually. So anyway, I've got to tell you some of the stuff that he did. So Ernest Thompson, born 1905, died in 1968. Now, he became the editor of something called Two Worlds magazine in 1945. And the Two Worlds magazine was a spiritualist magazine that dealt with all manner of interesting subjects that meet the physical realm with the spiritual plane, the place where energies and entities reside. And you'll know from previous videos, I've spoken about this quite a lot. We live down here in three-dimensional space, up, down, left, right, forward and back, and the ability to move, which is time. So 4 dimensions, up, down, left, right, forward and back, and time. Now, what Ernest Thompson dealt with mainly was contacting the next higher dimension, the place where your consciousness resides. So let's call that the 5th dimension. Now, the 5th dimension, or the spiritual plane, the astral plane, whatever you want to call it, in that place there are energies and entities that are human, energies and entities that are no longer human, energies and entities that were never human, and artificial entities. Now, you shouldn't think of these energies and entities as separate individual things. You should think of them as one flowing energy or entity with individual nodes that permeate down into three-dimensional space where we are, if they choose to. And this is pretty much what Ernest Thompson was looking into his entire life. So, like I said, Two Worlds magazine, he was the editor of that for many years. Here's another copy of Two Worlds magazine. He wrote loads of articles in here himself, but he also got loads of other people to write for him. This isn't the interesting bit, because when I tell you what this guy got up to, it's quite substantial. I mean, first things first, let's talk about spiritualism and contacting the other side. So people will get together and they'll have a seance. They'll all hold hands, and there'll be a medium that might just have the ability to break through to the other side and contact energies or entities that aren't physically here at the moment in that particular room. Some of those might be the energies or entities of the deceased, which seems to be the primary meaning for spiritualism, people contacting the dead. So Ernest wrote several really good books. I mean, I don't know if you can see that one there. That is the teachings and phenomena of spiritualism. And here's another one, which is an absolute corker, Spiritualism and in Philosophy and Religion by Ernest Thompson. So very good books these are. They'll really open your mind up to a world that most people are just not aware of. I mean, it's easy just to sit there and go, Steve's gone quite mad. Steve hasn't gone quite mad. Lots and lots of people believe in this. And there are a lot more people who believe in a religion than those who believe in the religion of atheism. And if you're laughing, you're probably an atheist. And if you're an atheist, you believe in something. Therefore, by nature, you believe. But anyway, I'll digress. Let's get back to Ernest Thompson. What was it that he did that was absolutely amazing? Well, first of all, after many years of editing Two Worlds magazine, writing loads of books, He did loads of other stuff. But one of the things that he did is, because he was an engineer, he brought those skills together and created a machine. He created a machine for contacting the dead. Now that might seem absolutely crazy, but he was so concerned that the spiritualist movement was declining, and that modern society was stopping people from holding seances, and people were putting televisions on and going to the cinema and doing all sorts of other things, that they weren't sitting quietly together and having those special moments and doing those spiritual things, you know, looking into contacting the dead, for instance. I mean, it's just not something that we do in a modern world now, many years later. And he was aware of this decline. And his thoughts were that perhaps if we're going to be losing genuine mediums in the future, perhaps if this modern world, if we could give it a machine to keep the spiritualist movement going. So he devised this machine. Here's a picture of it. This is what it looked like. This is Ernest Thompson with his machine. And here's a little bit of AI as well, just to make it more interesting. This machine could contact the other side in a form of flashing lights or code. So as opposed to having a medium, you know, contacting the other side, or someone drawing something in complete darkness, or clairaudience or clairvoyance or whatever else is coming forward, that this machine is intended essentially to do it for you. Which is just the perfect thing that modern society needs to keep spiritualism going. An easy way of contacting the other side. Now, did he fake this? I don't know. Possibly. But I like to believe that he didn't. Other stuff that Ernest Thompson did, before I tell you a little bit more about this machine, is that throughout his life he also wrote 150 lecturettes, many of which he published in the hundreds of copies of Two Worlds magazine, which I've already said he was the editor, wasn't he? Just looking for something here a minute. Where is that? So it is. Yeah, it was 2 and 6. That's how much it was to buy one of these back in the day. Now I've got many original copies of this magazine. Don't ask me why I was drawn to it, or why I decided to start collecting these or reading his books. I was just suddenly drawn one day, and there you are. You're going down a rabbit hole again, aren't you? So anyway, the machine. And what more do we need in this modern world than something to do it for us? Let's call Ernie's machine an iPhone for contacting the other side. I don't know, call it whatever you will. However, he actually built this machine and they used it in earnest. Okay. Anyway, where is this machine now? This machine for contacting the dead. So, not quite sure, but I believe it was donated with many of Ernest Thompson's things to the Britain Memorial Museum, which is at Stansted Hall, Arthur Findlay College in Essex in the United Kingdom. I might be wrong. I want to go and visit this place because it looks absolutely fascinating, to be honest with you. And if you want to get out and do something a little bit weird, go there, because they do courses on mediumship and all of that sort of good stuff. So if you want to get into something a little bit better than Emmerdale, that's a soap opera for my American watchers over there. It's a really dodgy soap opera with loads of woke nonsense in it that we all watch in the UK because there's nothing else to watch. But anyway, I digress. If you're in the UK or you're coming over to the UK, get yourself to Arthur Findlay College, Stansted Hall, Essex, CM24 8UD. Maybe they'll be able to tell you a little bit more about spiritualism than I will, because I haven't really told you much in this, other than there was an incredible character known to his friends as Mark Dyne. His name was Ernest Thompson, and he created a machine for contacting the dead. Anyway, I might touch on this subject again in the future. I just wanted to throw that one out there because I've been meaning to make a video about this guy for a while. This isn't a particularly good video about him. In fact, no. It's an incredible video about him, and it's going to go viral on YouTube and the whole world's going to watch it, allegedly. Anyway, I think that's enough of that for today. I'm Steve. This has been Bright Weird. Thanks for watching.